Okay, so the world, it feels like it's just moving incredibly fast these days,
It
doesn't it?
really does. Keeping truly informed, that's the challenge.
Yeah, you're just bombarded with headlines all the time. Hard to know what actually matters.
Exactly. Which is why we're here.
Welcome to the deep dive. It's July 28th, 2025, and today, well, our mission is basically to cut through all that noise for you.
We want to pull out the really critical stuff, the important nuggets from the last 12 hours or so of global news.
And connect the dots, right? Show you how things that seem totally separate are actually linked.
And how they end up affecting your world. Think of
Yeah.
it as your shortcut to being genuinely up to speed, maybe with a few surprises along the way.
Hopefully. So today, yeah, we're diving into some pretty big shifts in global trade.
Mm.
Plus, a massive tech deal really could reshape
Oh,
things.
yeah, that one's huge.
And some critical geopolitical stuff that's unfolding right now.
It all weaves together.
It does. So let's get into it. Let's unpack this. All right, first up, the global economy. Because, wow, the last 12 hours have seen some real movement on the trade front.
Definitely.
The really big headline is this major trade agreement between the U.S. and the European Union.
Mm-hmm. Finally agreed.
Yeah, they've set new tariffs, 15% on most EU imports, which sounds high, but it's actually half of what was being threatened.
Right. So significant de-escalation there. That's key.
Absolutely. But what really jumped out at me beyond the tariffs is this EU pledge, $600 billion in U.S. investments.
That is a staggering number, 600 billion.
It's enormous. What's
Yeah.
the play here for the EU? Is it just economics, or is there like a political angle to aligning against, other powers?
That's a really good question. Because, look, it's not just about the money, huge as it is.
Right.
The strategic intent here is fascinating. That 600 billion, it's a long-term commitment. It's designed to really weave the U.S. and EU economies much closer together.
Locking things in, sorta.
Exactly. It locks in that mutual influence, and really importantly, it helps shift supply chains, manufacturing capabilities more towards that transatlantic relationship.
Okay.
So for you, the listener, what this means is it really diffuses what felt like a looming tariff crisis. That brings stability.
Stability, always good.
Yeah, much needed stability.
Yeah.
And that can ripple through everything. Prices of goods, maybe your investment portfolio.
Which sectors do you think benefit most directly?
Well, you'd probably look at areas like advanced manufacturing, renewables, digital infrastructure. That's likely where a lot of this capital will flow first.
Okay, that makes sense. Stability is definitely welcome. And speaking of trade, flipping across the globe, U.S. and China.
The other big one?
High-level officials are back talking in Stockholm.
Right. Resumed talks.
And the immediate goal seems pretty clear. Extend the current tariff truce by another 90 days.
Yeah, they need to beat that August 12th deadline. That's looming pretty large.
It is. And the bigger picture, obviously, is to avoid kicking off those tariffs again and maybe, just maybe, set things up for a Trump-Xi summit.
Right. That's the longer-term hope, I suppose.
You always talk about predictability being so crucial for supply chains. What are the big hurdles here to make this more than just, kicking the can down the road for 90 days?
Well, the real challenge, and it hasn't gone away, is breaking those fundamental disagreements that caused the whole dispute in the first place.
Like IP theft, state subsidies, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Intellectual property, state subsidies, market access, those are the deep issues. Now, getting another truce, or even just the prospect of a summit, that gives you that short-term predictability.
Okay.
Which is crucial. Businesses need that breathing room to plan, to invest. That ultimately helps stabilize things for consumers everywhere. Prices, availability.
But making it last.
That's the trick. Sustaining it long-term needs more than just hitting pause on tariffs. It needs, actual structural changes, real concessions on both sides.
And how the market reacts will tell us a lot, I guess. Whether they believe it's real this time.
Precisely. You'll see it in the market reaction.
Yeah.
Are investors betting on a lasting fix or just another temporary patch?
Well, speaking of market reaction, investors clearly liked the sound of something. Global markets climbed.
They did. Broad optimism.
Yeah, optimism from the U.S.-EU deal, the U.S.-China talks momentum, equity futures were up, the euro gained ground. And for folks maybe less familiar, equity futures, they're basically bets on where stock prices are headed. So a good sentiment gauge.
Strong positive signal, yeah.
But here's the interesting bit, the counterintuitive sign of confidence. Gold went down.
The classic safe haven move in reverse.
Exactly. Gold usually goes up when people are nervous, so it falling suggests Less nervousness, more confident.
That's exactly what it signals. Investors are feeling comfortable enough to move away from safety, like gold, and back into things perceived as riskier, but with potentially higher returns, like stocks.
So the immediate fear of a trade war blowing up again, or maybe a big recession, that's eased off.
In their minds, yes,
Yeah.
at least for now. The immediate threat perception has definitely decreased.
But is that optimism fully justified? I mean, there's still plenty of risks out there, right?
Oh, absolutely. Whether it's fully justified is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It really depends on how these agreements actually unfold on the ground. We still have geopolitical hotspots. Inflation is still a concern.
So investors might be favoring what? Tech stocks, industrials, things that benefit from stability?
That would be the logical play, yes. Banking on that stability dividend from the trade deals. But look, it's always a delicate balance. Sentiment can turn on a dime.
Right. Okay, so while some trade tensions seem to be easing, others are, well, ramping up, especially energy.
Yes, the energy sector is seeing some major shifts.
We've got new EU restrictions hitting Russia's oil sector, and these aren't small tweaks.
No, this is significant. It's about fundamentally reshaping flows.
Global diesel flows, specifically, and the immediate impact. Prices are climbing.
Yep, pushing prices up. And that's hitting at a time when fuel stocks are already pretty low in key markets. So, bad timing.
Beyond just paying more at the pump, what are the sort of bigger geopolitical ripples from messing with diesel flows like this? Does it boost alternatives, create new alliances?
This is where you see those ripple effects really spread out. The EU's move strategically, it's about cutting reliance on Russia, obviously.
Sure.
But the immediate tactical fallout. Rewriting diesel means longer shipping journeys, higher transport costs, more demand on suppliers not named Russia.
Right.
Geopolitically. It definitely gives another push to developing alternative energy within Europe. You could see more investment in renewables because of this.
Makes sense. Security of supply.
Exactly. And it forces countries to scramble for new supply deals.
Yeah.
So yes, potentially new alliances get formed or existing ones deepen as nations try to lock down their energy needs. Energy security is still paramount.
Okay, let's shift focus slightly to a specific regional issue, but one that really shows how interconnected everything is. South Africa.
Facing some challenges.
Yeah, Valterra Platinum, big player there. They just reported an 81% drop in half-year profit.
Wow, 81%. That's a huge hit.
Huge. Reasons given were operational problems and, get this, a wet spring.
A wet spring impacting mining profits that much.
Apparently so. Forced them to cut dividends. Really underscores the volatility in mining, you know, especially for stuff tied to global industry.
And it ties right back into those global currents we were just talking about.
How so?
Well, look at the South African rand. It weakened. Why? Because investors are waiting for clarity on, guess what?
U.S. tariffs.
Ingo. Looming U.S. tariffs. That's the U.S.-China talks connection right there. Plus, they're watching central bank rate moves. Key data is out this week.
So even something like unusual weather hitting one mine gets tangled up in global trade talks and interest rate decisions happening miles away.
Precisely. It's a perfect, if unfortunate, example. No economy is an island. It all connects.
Okay, let's pivot now from economics to innovation and some geopolitical shifts. And this first one is, well, it's massive on the tech front.
The Tesla-Samsung deal.
Yes. Elon Musk confirmed it. A $16.5 billion supply agreement.
Billion. With a B. For chips.
For Tesla's next-gen AI chip, the AI6. And Samsung's going to make it at a new factory in Texas.
Huge news for Samsung, obviously. Their shares jumped, what, 6%?
More than 6%, yeah. But $16.5 billion for one chip deal. Why is that scale so important for AI, for tech overall?
Because it's a game changer. It signals this enormous commitment to bringing critical semiconductor manufacturing back on shore, or at least diversifying it, especially for these super specialized AI chips.
Right, not just standard chips.
No, these are the brains behind advanced AI.
Right.
It cements Samsung's role as a really key foundry that's the specialized factory for the absolute cutting edge.
So this isn't just about Tesla cars getting smarter.
Oh, it's much bigger than that. The sheer scale here suggests it's going to accelerate the speed of tech development for AI across the board.
How so?
It means more powerful AI isn't just going to live in giant data centers. We're talking about integrating much more sophisticated AI into, well, everything. Cars, obviously, but home devices, industrial equipment, and faster than we might have thought.
So it's like pouring fuel on the AI fire, basically.
That's a good way to put it. It shows where the big money, the big innovation push is undeniably heading.
Wow. Okay. Now, unfortunately, we also need to turn to some very serious geopolitical developments.
Yeah.
Tragically, Ukraine, Kyiv was hit by a massive drone strike overnight.
Yeah, really grim news coming out of there.
A Russian attack, drones, and missiles. Reports say 8 residents injured, including a 3-year-old child.
Just awful. The human cost is always paramount.
Ukraine's reporting over 320 drones launched across multiple regions. That's scale.
Mm.
What does an attack like that tell us about where the conflict is right now?
Well, sadly, these kinds of large-scale drone and missile barrages have become a brutal feature of this war.
Attack.
A tactic, yes. The sheer number, over 300, it shows a deliberate, sustained effort. They're trying to degrade infrastructure, yes, but also disrupt daily life, hit civilian morale.
And stretch Ukraine's defenses thin.
Exactly. Force them to spread their air defense resources. It maintains pressure across a wide area. It just underscores the relentless, devastating nature of the conflict, even when maybe global headlines shift elsewhere sometimes.
Such a difficult situation. Elsewhere in Europe, though, we're seeing some significant diplomatic moves. France has announced it will formally recognize the state of Palestine.
Yes, joining a few other European nations recently.
It seems to align with this kind of shifting European diplomatic focus towards long-term peace ideas.
That seems to be the rationale, yes. A focus on the two-state solution framework.
Beyond the symbolism, which is powerful, what are the actual sort of diplomatic implications of a country like France making this move now for peace efforts, for international relations?
Well, the symbolism is significant. Don't underestimate that.
Sure.
But it does carry diplomatic weight, too. It reflects this growing view among, well, some European countries that formally recognizing Palestine alongside Israel is necessary to make a two-state solution viable.
So it adds pressure, creates leverage.
That's the hope. That it creates new leverage for negotiations, maybe encourages more countries to follow, building a kind of collective European position that pushes harder for a political resolution. It definitely adds another complex layer to the whole international picture around the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It could influence future diplomatic pushes, shifting that balance of international recognition.
Right. And, while we often focus on these huge macro trends, global policies, sometimes the most impactful stories are incredibly local and incredibly tragic.
Yeah, sometimes the news hits very close to home for communities.
And we saw that in the past 12 hours, too, in Bangkok. A gunman opened fire in a market.
Oh, no.
Killed 5 security guards. And then himself. 6 deaths in total.
Just devastating. Terrible.
Authorities are still investigating, obviously. Looking into the motive, what the potential impact on tourism might be.
Of course.
It's a stark reminder, isn't it, of the human element behind the headlines, how these local tragedies can send ripples through communities, through economies even. So let's try and wrap this up. What does all this mean for you listening? I mean, in just the last 12 hours or so.
Wow. A lot has happened.
Yeah, the world has shifted, big trade deals, calming markets, potentially diffusing crises.
Huge tech investments pushing AI forward.
But also persistent conflicts, these devastating local events, ongoing diplomatic realignments.
It paints a really vivid picture, doesn't it?
Oh,
A world that's incredibly dynamic and everything is so deeply interconnected.
it really does. And the speed of it all.
That's the thing, the speed. Complex negotiations, sudden geopolitical shifts, it all directly influences things that matter to you. Major industries, yes, but also the price you pay for gas, for groceries, your job security, potentially.
It makes you wonder, looking at everything we've covered today, which thread is going to have the biggest long-term impact?
That's the question to ponder, isn't it? Is the newfound trade stability, fragile as it might be, is it the disruption in energy markets, the acceleration in AI, or the ongoing conflicts and diplomatic shifts?
Which one will most shape global stability, global innovation going forward?
Yeah, something definitely worth thinking about as we all try to navigate what comes next.